Hello, freaks and fashionistas. My name is TBSguy, and on the list of things that I saw coming, this was not on the list. If someone had told me, hey, you should put this thing on the list of things that you see coming, I would have been like, no, I wouldn't put that on the list of things that I see coming, because I don't see that coming at all. What are you talking about? You're crazy. But anyway, League of Legends and Louis Vuitton are doing a collaboration for Worlds. Okay, that's a thing that's happening, is that Riot are collaborating with a massive, prestigious international fashion brand for Worlds 2019. That's going to take a second to sink in, isn't it? So, the terms of the agreement, such as I can make them out, is that Louis Vuitton, massive, famous fashion brand, 150 years old, yada yada yada, have agreed to create a carrying case for this Summoner's Cup, branded, as you can see in the background of this particular shot that they posted on Twitter, with Louis Vuitton patterning, as well as in-game skins, a capsule collection, and certain digital assets for League of Legends. This is kind of a big deal for a few reasons. Now, I'm gonna start by saying I don't know jack shit about fashion. Like, I shop at the supermarket. Like, that's where my budget is at. I'm t-shirts and jeans guy. I don't know anything about high fashion, and I certainly can't engage with it at the prices that it's sold at. So Louis Vuitton as a brand, whether that's a good fit for League of Legends with its fashion profile and its place in the popular culture, that's going to be a tricky subject for me to work out. But once the skins that are specifically branded with Louis Vuitton come out, yeah, we're definitely going to have a look at them and we're going to talk about them from a character design perspective. But I want to stress up front that I don't know jack shit about fashion and fashion history and stuff like that. That's not really my area or my world to live in. What I do know something about, though, is League of Legends and League of Legends history and Riot Games history in terms of how they manage League of Legends and the IP of League of Legends. And that's where I'm interested in this collaboration right now. Like, we don't know anything about whether the skins they're going to be making are going to be good or not, but we can talk something about the deal and what that might mean for the future of both skins and for the League of Legends IP in general. So this video is going to be a little bit of a continuation of my last one, where I talked about the book that Riot are putting out with their lore in it, like, which I argue, because they are both working with third-party publishers and they are finally signaling that they're willing to put their lore out into the world as a physical product, and they've been working with Marvel recently on that comics collaboration, which signals an openness for them to work with third parties and to license the League of Legends brand and IP to other partners to do stuff with. This kind of ties into that whole thing, because there's a bunch of firsts going on here. Now, the first big thing that's kind of happening here is actually that case. Like, for a lot of us who are League of Legends players, this might seem like the smaller deal, because we're more interested in the skins and stuff, but Louis Vuitton have created a carrying case for a major sports trophy before. Specifically, they've created one for the FIFA World Cup. Now, FIFA is a garbage organization that ascended from hell and should be sent back there as soon as possible, but the FIFA World Cup is one of the most prestigious sports tournaments on the face of the earth, and Louis Vuitton, in a partnership with FIFA, created a carrying case for that particular sports trophy. Now they have agreed to do the same thing for the League of Legends Summoners Cup. So, on a cultural level, that's kind of a big deal, because it's one of the oldest and most venerable fashion brands, like one of the arbiters of high culture, as it were, basically putting the same stamp of approval on esports, or more specifically League of Legends and then by extension esports, as they put on FIFA. They're putting FIFA on the same level as League of Legends Worlds to a certain extent. Like, on a cultural level, there's no law saying now that esports is a real sport and shut up about it, but from like the cultural perspective, the cultural aspects, this recognition from a massive brand is kind of a big deal for esports, because that's the kind of signal that will get other mainstream advertisers and sponsors interested in financing and supporting esports leagues, because, hey, Louis Vuitton are doing it, so clearly there's something to it. Like, and that's a process that's been ongoing for a while. This is just kind of a cool moment in that particular history. Now, as for me personally, like, I never get too excited by multi-billion-dollar brand corporations making money by cross-promoting their brands across each other, but I can see the cultural thing where, hey, the League of Legends Summoners Cup is getting the same cultural treatment as the FIFA Cup. That's kind of a big deal. From Louis Vuitton's perspective, obviously, they want access to the League of Legends player base. They want access I mean, speculating, I would say presumably they particularly want access to the Chinese market, which is like, that market is defined by protectionism. And they want access to the growing middle class in China, where League of Legends is absolutely massive, as well as the young, attractive millennial crowd that tends to be primarily invested in esports, who are going to be the people who are going to grow up to have the kinds of jobs that can pay for the fashion statements that Louis Vuitton make their business producing. So, like, from a business perspective, this makes perfect sense from all sides. What I'm more interested in, though, is the licensing agreement part of this. Like it says, Louis Vuitton and Riot Games will also soon announce unique champion skins in a capsule collection designed by Nicolas Guesquière, Louis Vuitton's artistic director of women's collections, along with other League of Legends digital assets. So what this means is there are going to be skins in League of Legends that are branded with the Louis Vuitton brand. And that's kind of a big deal. Riot, historically, have been extremely resistant to the idea of doing branded in-game promotions like that, of creating assets for League of Legends itself that are branded with someone else's IP. Now, Fortnite recently have been on a fucking tear, frankly for years, doing cross-promotions like John Wick and the Avengers, and recently Batman, and God knows what the fuck else they're going to be doing cross-promotions with. Well, pretty much, if there's any major world brand in the world, Epic Games are probably trying to license it for Fortnite right the fuck now. Because that's an excellent way for them to make money, and for Fortnite players, that has largely been very cool because it allows them to engage in all kinds of different fantasies and customize their characters in all kinds of different interesting ways. And it also kind of sucks because it's one more step in, like, the horrible march of monetization that has been plaguing the games industry for years now, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. What I want to note as notable is that, like, Riot historically have been deeply unwilling to allow any other brand any kind of control over the League of Legends IP, because here's the thing that's going to be happening. Agreements have been signed backstage at this point, like massive multi-million dollar, if not billion-dollar agreements with cross-licensing and like all kinds of terms of agreements as to who gets to do what with whose brand, under which circumstances, and under, like, in what conditions can brand licensing be revoked and all that stuff. And what it shakes out to is Riot Games have accepted the risk that once they put Louis Vuitton's brand into their game, if Riot does something that Louis Vuitton feels defames their brand or breaches some part of their agreement, Louis Vuitton can say, you no longer have the license to have our branding in your video game. And again, it depends on the terms of the contracts that have been negotiated behind the scenes, but theoretically, in an extreme circumstance, if Riot have negotiated a bad deal for this thing, if Louis Vuitton decide that they have the right to pull their branding from League of Legends and a court agrees with them, Riot could have sold a product to millions of their players that they are then going to have to take away from them because they have lost the license to display that branding in their video game, which kind of a big risk for a video game company. Similarly, if it comes out 3 months after that the skins have been out and millions of people have bought them, if it comes out that Louis Vuitton have been doing, like, human rights abuses in Southeast Asia and using child labor, and, like, maybe they're being indicted for war crimes in The Hague, like, who knows, like, some fucking horrifying, awful shit, maybe their CEO is going to be indicted as a pedophile in the Jeffrey Epstein scandal, who knows, all kinds of shit can happen. Riot are also accepting the risk that they might not be able to get Louis Vuitton's brand out of their video game because they have signed a bunch of agreements that say that the brand is going to be in the video game for X number of years under certain circumstances, and a court will not allow them to breach that particular agreement without paying enormous damages. Like, those things can happen, and lawyers get paid a huge amount of money to make sure that they don't, but they can happen. And those are risks that Riot historically have not seemed willing to engage with. Like, they have not been willing to let any other IP, any other branding anywhere near League of Legends, the video game. Like, they've done stuff with, like, putting League of Legends characters on Coke cans and stuff like that, sort of outside merchandising stuff, but they've never let anything else into the video game. The most they've done is, like, football skins that weren't really branded after a particular team or anything, but they were just like, hey, there's a football thing happening, here's a Striker Lucian skin. And they've been willing to do stuff for the Olympics. Like, that's about as far as, at least in my memory, Riot have really gone with this kind of cross-branding. So this is a big step. Like, this is Riot opening up some floodgates and accepting a certain level of risk in order to do these kind of cross-promotional branding opportunity things. And The Louis Vuitton skin is pretty cool. Like, it's pretty cool that this massive international fashion brand, this staple of big air quotes high culture, has deigned to lower themselves to collaborating with video games on this level. That's pretty cool. The question I have is, what comes next? And this is why I brought up Fortnite. Like, yeah, it's cool that you can play as John Wick in Fortnite, but it's also an advertisement that's being sold to you. Now, this is something Jim Sterling, in particular, has been talking about with Gears of War 4, 5, 6, the newest Gears of War, has a cross-promotion branding thing going on with the new Terminator movie, where you can play as a Terminator or Sarah Connor in Gears multiplayer. The thing is, though, that particular branding is a pre-order bonus, which means you, like, essentially they're trying to sell you the opportunity to be advertised to by seeing branded, branded assets and materials in the video game that you already paid full price for. And that's kind of the same thing that's been going on with Fortnite. All, like, the John Wick skin, the Thanos skin, and the Batman skins, and God knows whatever the hell else they've been doing over there. All of that is Epic Games essentially selling you the opportunity to be advertised to by other brands outside of Fortnite. They're asking you for money so that you can become a living advertisement for the next John Wick movie, for the next Avengers movie. And that's kind of essentially what's going to be happening here as well. These Louis Vuitton skins in League of Legends, everyone who buys a Louis Vuitton skin is paying to be an advertising billboard for Louis Vuitton in League of Legends. Like, that's the reality of what's happening here, is that if you pay for that skin, you are a walking advertisement for this particular fashion brand in League of Legends. Now, that doesn't mean that you don't get anything out of it, obviously. A lot of people are really, really excited for this because they're fashionistas. Like, they're into fashion, they love the Louis Vuitton brand and the Louis Vuitton fashion thing, and they're excited to be able to display, like, that particular fashion statement inside League of Legends as well as maybe out in the real world, or hoping that in League of Legends, Louis Vuitton will be a little bit cheaper and more manageable than those $4,000 purses, and so you get to, in a sense, wear a branded product from Louis Vuitton in a video game in a way that you can sort of fulfill that fantasy in a way that you can't in real life. All of that is perfectly valid, but my worry here is that, well, it's not going to stop with Louis Vuitton, is it? Like, if this is successful, if this makes a lot of money, if this generates a lot of positive promotion and buzz, and if a lot of players really enjoy this, this is going to start happening more. Riot have finally opened the floodgates and said, we will work with outside brands to create in-game branded content for players to use as cosmetics. And next time, it's not going to be Louis Vuitton. Like, they're probably going to choose high-profile, like, prestigious sponsors and stuff and partners because, well, League of Legends is a pretty valuable brand, and they don't have to pick and choose from the bottom of the barrel, but it's not going to be Louis Vuitton next time. It's not necessarily going to be a brand that you like. It might be like it might be skins that are locked behind buying a full case of Monster Energy or consuming a certain amount of Cheetos or Tostinos in a month in order to maybe get a skin code in one of the bags and shit like that. Like, that's the kind of promotion that's being opened up to here. So on the one hand, yes, there's a bunch of stuff about this that's really cool, but there's also, like, I won't call it a slippery slope, because it's not a slippery slope, it's a water slide. There's also a water slide that Riot are standing at the top of it and saying, hey, we might be willing to slide down. You just have to call us with your wallets and say, hey, we would like to pay you to slide down this water slide. And then they will. Because no one is going to be immune to the kinds of money that can be generated by those cross-promotional branding opportunities. Fortnite is raking in cash on those branding opportunities. Riot Games seems to be eyeing them a little bit with this particular move. So, this is cool. The case for the cup thing, like in the FIFA thing, is cool. The idea of having, like, high fashion branded skins in League of Legends is kind of cool. But there might be a downside to all of this down the line, is all I'm trying to say. So, final bit of speculation before we end the video. Who's going to be wearing the goddamn Louis Vuitton stuff in-game? And, well, I mean, the obvious answer is Ari. because she's the most popular one. Ari Lux, I've heard a lot of people speculating that it's going to be it's going to be integrated with the next KDA skins, which would make a certain amount of sense because like the KDA girls are pop stars in their particular world, and pop stars always are wearing high fashion brands and doing that. Like that would kind of make sense for Louis Vuitton to be associated with that. And since the KDA music video went so fucking viral and became a genuine chart topper actually in real life, that might be something that Louis Vuitton are interested in collaborating with or putting their brand onto. My counter argument to that is that I don't think Louis Vuitton would be satisfied playing second fiddle to anything. Like, I don't think they'd be satisfied seeing all the press attention around this promotion going, hey, there's new KDA skins, and they have some fashion stuff from some, I don't know, KDA skins, everyone, new KDA skins, woo! Like, I don't think they're satisfied playing second fiddle to one of the most popular skin lines in the entire League of Legends IP. I don't think they'd be happy with that. I think they want to very much, you know, own own the promotion for themselves, as it were. So I don't think it's going to be integrated with the KDA skins. I think it's going to be specifically some of the more popular champions. Ari comes to mind immediately, maybe Riven, maybe Lux, especially the most popular female champions are probably what they're going to be targeting, as well as maybe Ezreal or Jace or something like that, who are wearing some of Louis Vuitton's male fashion. And by the way, Louis Vuitton does have other stuff than just an infinite series of handbags with those fucking logos on them. They also do sell, like, jewelry and jackets and shoes and other things. So I would imagine if they're doing anything, they're going to take a champion and kit them out in some kind of new fashion line that's going to be coming soon to a massively overpriced fashion store somewhere you don't live. I'm sorry, I'm trying not to be a crotchety old man about this, but for fuck's sake, £2,400 for a mini skirt? How does anyone have that much money? Okay, sorry, it's my inner communist. He gets very angry when he sees shoes that cost like more than twice my monthly rent. But that would be my guess as for the skins that are going to be coming out. Again, we're going to be taking a full look at them once it's actually time for them to come out. But my guess would be that we're going to have some handsome male champion decked out in a bunch of Louis Vuitton stuff and at least a couple of female champions doing the same kind of thing, showcasing different fashion lines from the studio or whatever. Anyway, with that speculation out of the way, yeah, if you've enjoyed this video, I'm not sure why, because it was a really weird sort of up my own ass discussion about licensing issues in the League of Legends IP, which is not really the kind of thing I usually talk about. But if you enjoyed it nonetheless, like, comment, subscribe, YouTube, bell icon, do the things, yada yada, make the numbers go up, please, because that's how my channel gets to stay alive. If you want to support my work more directly, well, Patreon is right there for that, and if you don't want to do a monthly subscription on Patreon, I completely understand, and I have a tip jar, or a couple of tip jars actually, down in the description, where you can give me a one-time tip to say, hey, you talked for a long time about some stuff that really isn't that interesting to me, but, you know, you seem to care about it, so here's $3 for you to buy clothes somewhere other than the supermarket, I guess. So you can do that. And as I say at the end of my videos, to online content creators like me, $1, $2, $3 makes a lot more of a difference than you think, because that can be the same as thousands of views on an individual video, or tens of thousands of views if you're running a website that's supported by advertising. Like, it really, even those tiny small amounts that don't feel like very much can make a huge difference to people like me. So whether it's me or someone else, if there are online content creators whose work you enjoy, please consider supporting them directly with anything that you can, because I promise you it matters a lot more to us than you think. Anyway, if you haven't enjoyed this video, well, I have a exciting promotional opportunity for you, because I have entered a partnership with YouTube to promote their dislike button on my page. So exclusively, only underneath my videos, nowhere else on YouTube. You can go underneath my YouTube videos and you can see right there a dislike button, which is an exclusive deal that only I have. It's like, this is the only channel on the website where you can see the dislike button. And then you can go and click the like button instead, because you shouldn't click the dislike button, because that tanks my video and the algorithm, and I need that algorithm to live. So just enjoy it from a distance like a Mona Lisa and go and click the like button instead. Thank you very much for watching.